On today's menu are juicy lamb koftas that turn extra flavorful when cooked in a delicious gravy. Namaskar and welcome to Curries with Boombi. I will be using fresh breadcrumbs, for which I have taken regular sandwich bread and whisked it in my food processor. If you do not have a food processor, just dampen the bread in a little bit of water, squeeze off the excess water and use it. Now I could have done all this in the same food processor in which I will grind the meat. But silly me, I forgot about that, so I had to do it separately. Probably I wanted to do more dishes today. Anybody chooses to do more dishes like me? Well, I think I'm the only one. Okay, I have taken 1 pound of minced lamb and we need to grind the meat more. So if you have a food processor, then it will really come in handy at this time. Mincing the meat more will prevent your koftas from breaking. But no worries if you don't have one, then please mash the meat as much as possible. The meat needs to be very cold before grinding in the food processor, or else it may turn too sticky. Now add all the ingredients one after the other. Half a teaspoon of coarsely crushed black pepper, half a teaspoon of dried mint. You can also use fresh mint leaves. Half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 1 tablespoon of plain unflavored yogurt. This takes care of any unpleasant odor of the meat and also tenderizes it. A teaspoon of dried thyme, or you can use ajwaiin, that is carom seeds. A teaspoon of coarsely crushed cumin seeds and a teaspoon of coarsely crushed coriander seeds. Please crush them coarsely, because when you bite onto a kofta, these seeds will be saying hello to you, bursting out with their flavors. Then 1/4 of a cup of fried brown onions. I have a video on how to make these and I always have some stashed in my refrigerator, but you can also fry them fresh. Then comes a teaspoon each of finely grated ginger and garlic, along with a handful of chopped cilantro. If you like, you can also add some chopped fresh green chilies. Give a whiz and then add the binding agents, that are the fresh breadcrumbs and an egg. And finally, half a teaspoon of salt. Work into a fine mash, and then this will sit in the refrigerator for a minimum of 2 hours, or you can even marinate it overnight. Take it out from the refrigerator just before shaping them, as that will help you in shaping perfect koftas. I applied oil to my palms and also oiled the plate on which the koftas will be placed. You can make any shape of your preference. Today I chose to make these unusual shapes like a kebab. Please see to it that there are no cracks on the koftas, or else it may break. So it yielded 18 koftas. Heat oil and place the koftas before the oil turns too hot. Now my friends, I will not be using all that oil for this recipe. I will be lessening the amount after frying the koftas. Fry them on medium heat. Do not fry them too brown like this. I was changing the batteries of my camera, so the koftas took a deep color. So what will I do at this time? I will fry the other side very less. If it gets too brown all around, then the koftas will have trouble soaking up the gravy. So fry them slightly. I will pass this oil through a strainer. I will not throw away this oil, but I keep it in the refrigerator, and for the next few days, whenever I need to cook, I use up this oil. Now my friends, that doesn't mean I heat up all that oil and reuse it again. No, that's not good. I just take required spoonfuls from that oil and the rest again goes back in the refrigerator. Okay, so I wiped the pan with a paper towel to remove any brown bits which can get burnt while cooking. See, this is the oil that I strained, and I will be using 4 to 5 tablespoons from here. And this is exactly the way how I will be using this oil for cooking over the next few days. There is no harm in that. Once the oil turned hot, in goes pearl onions. Stir them for a minute. If pearl onions are not available at your place, then you can cut up an onion into large chunky pieces. Stir them for a minute and then add green and red bell peppers along with a sprinkle of salt. Fry them on medium-high heat for a few minutes or until they develop a little brown color around the edges. You can also use only green bell peppers or only red bell peppers, or you may leave out the bell peppers if that's how you like it. Next, add finely chopped onions along with a sprinkle of salt that helps the onions to soften up faster. Fry the onions on medium heat till they turn golden brown. In the meantime, I will be adding all these in the blender to make a smooth puree. we need garlic, ginger and 1 large tomato. Okay, when your onions turn golden brown like this, and please fry the onions on medium heat. Now I will be adding the ginger garlic tomato puree. And then it's spice time! 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, a tablespoon of ground coriander and a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Cover on medium-low heat for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, lift off. It is still a bit watery, so lid on again for 2 more minutes. Okay, the puree is looking dry now. That means it is well fried. So I added about a little less than a cup of hot water. The gravy looks a bit off-colored to me, and I do not want to add more Kashmiri chili powder as it may get hotter. So what do? I added a teaspoon of paprika. I get this question frequently, like why my gravy looked so pale and not as red as yours. So if you can handle more chili heat, then add more Kashmiri chili powder, or else add paprika to bring in that red color. I also added a teaspoon of garam masala powder and half a teaspoon of kasuri methi, that is dried fenugreek leaves. Kasuri methi is optional, but it brings in a wonderful flavor which I love. Next, add the koftas. I added about 1/3 of a cup of hot water as things were looking a bit dry. When the gravy comes up to a boil, put the lid on and cover on low heat for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I added 2 whole green chilies and gave the pan a little shaky. Try not to use the spoon to prevent the koftas from breaking. Next, I added 2 tablespoons of Mexican crema. You can also use heavy cream, but I'm telling you my friends, cream is optional. Or you can also use some coconut milk if that's how you like it. And see how I'm carefully handling the situation so that the koftas don't break. If you just use your spatula happily inside the pan, then the koftas will break and everything will turn into a minced something and you will be so very disappointed. So try not to use much of your spoon. I again added a splash of hot water to thin out the gravy. If you want a thinner gravy, add more water. If you want a thicker gravy, add less. Now cover on low heat for 25 minutes. In between, remember to give the pan a shaky so that the koftas cook evenly. After 20 minutes, do a taste test and adjust the seasonings if required. Like for me, the gravy tasted a bit sour, so I added just a teaspoon of sugar to bring in a balance, but it is optional, and adjusting the seasonings, I leave all that in your hands, my friend. Now is the time for the fried onions and bell peppers to join the party, along with my beloved coriander leaves. Cover on low heat for 2 minutes. Then you have this wonderfully colorful dish staring at you with all its glory. You can make a large batch and freeze it so that whenever you have cravings, you know it is waiting in the freezer for you. You can have this with rice or pulao or any flatbread. Please click that like button if you've enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.